Hey, Gloucester Township. I'm Joe Allen, here with Keith Gibbons.
Howdy, folks.
Everybody knows that guy.
Here we go. Yep, we're here for another podcast with the GT Observer. We are going to be recapping the, what was that called? The special
August 8th meeting.
Yeah, special August 8th meeting.
About the sewer. We were there.
Live and in person.
Yeah, we were there watching
We didn't
it.
live stream it, though. Yeah, I had a one clip pulled here that kind of, I thought, set the tone. Like, this is like kind of what the tone of the meeting was throughout here, so let's just play this here.
Why have we already borrowed this year close to $15 million? Things that you seem to spend money on.
Oh, providing services for our residents. Those are the things that we're spending money on.
Every township, every municipality has police departments. They have parks. So,
But Ira, why do you decide to keep roots here and stay here as opposed to living in another municipality?
Yeah, basically it was, why? Well, then pick up and leave if you don't like it.
Like I moved from hours away back to here, and I didn't have time to do the research. I got a job, and I was like, I got to get out there and I got to start.
Yeah.
So, just to think that, like, you know, the fight that was going to come years ahead of me, just because I wanted stuff to work, not because of anything else other than I just wanted good government. I wanted government to work for the people, and I saw that it didn't, and it was just like I don't know. I've got to jump into this, and
Yeah.
this is the way that I do it now. The thoughts that I have for the house that I bought are completely different now because I had so many plans when we moved here.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, maybe I'm just going to do that somewhere else, because if I start adding all that stuff on, my taxes are going to go up, and then, you know, then it's not affordable.
I mean, we've said before, like, you know, when they're like, oh, premium services, and when you ask, I had pulled a clip before from ages ago when he was asked about
Somebody
that.
said trash.
And he's like, you get your trash picked up? There's leaf pickup. If there's a storm and there's sticks, you know, that are on the ground, they pick up, you just named basic services, but calling them premium. But anyway, so one of the guys that runs some of our premium services here, Tom Cardis, who's the one that was blamed a few times for bringing this idea up, because it can't come from the mayor, so it has to come from, you know, the administration, which would be Tom Cardis.
It's a perfect opportunity. You know, we know Tom Cardis can't really answer a question.
Yeah, he can't answer a question.
Like, you have the question, you pose it to him, and you expect here comes the answer. But then the answer goes all the way around, and you're like, when you're done, and he's talked for a while, and you go, he didn't answer the question. We've called him Beetlejuice now for a year, 2 years maybe, and there is a clip that I was like, Keith,
This is part. We play it when we say, "Here's Tom Cardis answering a question," but he actually was on vacation now, so.
Nah, I'm going on a cruise, you know?
Where you going?
Yeah, I'm taking her on a cruise.
Where are you going to go? I mean, where are you visiting on the cruise?
Well, it's going to be on a boat.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
But what are you going to do?
Going?
Where's the boat go?
Well, the boat's going to be in the water.
See, you thought he didn't know.
I thought he knew. I knew you knew.
So he was out on a cruise or
Tom's
something.
on a cruise,
somewhere.
probably.
But so it was convenient that he wasn't there for all the questions during a public hearing.
We had asked about this a long time ago. Whose idea was this? And they said, "Oh, you know, it
happened. I don't know.
It just happened." And then Cardis wasn't there last night, and the answer was, "Well, Tom Cardis brought it up."
Yeah. Well, I actually a while back I had Oprah like how it got onto the agenda, and it came from Tom Cardis from his email putting it on the agenda. But the other person that wasn't there was the one person who's running again this year. Helen Albright Troxel was also not there. So, yep, she wasn't there.
So,
that's convenient because now she can say, I didn't even vote on it.
She was not there. And Carolyn Grace.
Carolyn Gracie, I didn't know what her story was.
Was also on vacation. She is not.
Look, people are allowed to go on vacation. We're not knocking on for going on vacation. But Tom Cardis, of all people, deadlines of things and all that stuff.
This is your thing, Tom. Like, you're the guy.
Well in advance. If you're the one that put up a $143 million question, in my opinion, you better damn well be at that meeting. That's insane to think that you don't have the responsibility to the taxpayers to be there to answer questions around this. Am I nuts for that thought or no?
No, I mean, look, if work buys a big piece of equipment for a couple $1,000 and I'm off, I'm like, just call me. I'll talk you through it. $143 million is
That's no biggie.
It's a big difference. Yeah. What was he doing? Was he just a staycation?
So anyway, the council president reads the rules. Here we
Everyone
go.
tonight will have an opportunity to speak. It is unlimited, this public hearing.
You hear that? Unlimited.
So each speaker will be entitled to 5 minutes. Once each speaker has spoken, and a speaker would like to speak again, they would raise their hand and we'll allow them to speak again.
All right. So, unlimited time. It's a special meeting. Public portions for these kind of things are unlimited. So, each person gets 5 minutes. You get cut off at the 5 minute mark. You have to go sit down. Somebody else can come up and speak.
Yeah.
If we need to
You
continue.
have unlimited time. You can do that as many times as you want
want.
until you run out of times that your hand can raise.
My thought on last night was it starts at 6. I could be done by 7. It could be done by 2. I don't know. I'm not sure. If you have no idea what's going on with the sewer, but you've seen the signs and you've wondered. So back in January 2023, Gloucester Township, they applied to dissolve the MUA with the local finance board, and then on May 5th, the local finance board agreed to allow the dissolution of the MUA. The residents, when this happened, when it hit the agenda, residents immediately started to say, why? Why is this happening?
There has to be a reason.
They knew, they started questioning. They found that the MUA had a $6 million emergency fund
Yeah.
that they called a surplus. We called it emergency fund because, when things happen, they've got to fix them.
Well, it's for capital projects and things like that coming up. Yeah, so you don't have to borrow. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt
So
you.
it was also on an election year, so we thought, if they've been spending a lot, they're going to be short on cash. They're going to try to use some of that money because they don't raise taxes on election years. So we thought that was another theory that we had that's been proven before. Mm-hmm. And then we also said, wait a minute, if you're touching sewer or water,
Yeah, wait. New Jersey American Water throughout the country is buying up sewer systems.
they're buying it up. But also, our mayor works for New Jersey American Water. And then we started asking questions. Are you going to sell this in the future? And there are a lot of clips out there that we've on previous podcasts that we brought up where residents are asking, are you going to sell? But the one that came up when I was just doing a little bit of research was when I was looking for some information on the history of this whole thing. The best website that kept coming up in all the search results was
GT Observer.
So here's a short clip of a GT Observer clip from May 2020.
12th, I think.
The scariest part is that sometimes towns will privatize this, and you take an entity that was the Gloucester Township MUA, where they really don't have to make. They're not in it to make a profit. They're in it to operate. Just to operate. If you send it over to a for-profit company, they have to make a profit. So, in situations where you get some of these experts that know these things, will say, look, your bills are going to skyrocket.
Yeah.
If that happens, if a private company takes it over, and American Water is in that, they're in that realm of wastewater also.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, there's other companies out there. Whatever it is, it's.
But there are not other companies that our mayor works for.
Joe Stradamus.
So residents back then were questioning it, and it was like, look, that's not it. And in fact, like Dan Hudson said, this is the exact opposite of what we're doing here.
This preserves it.
This preserves it, and we were told we were crazy, and here we are. So yes, people started to question it. With a July 2nd due date, the township had to go out and put it out for bid to find out if anybody was interested in buying it.
That's of this year?
Yeah, July 2nd,
right.
2024.
These were last year's.
That clip that we just played.
So now we're starting this year.
That clip that we played was 2023. Initially, this all started happening in 2023, but on July 2nd, 2024, they put an RFP out, request for bid, to find out if anyone was interested in buying it. And bids were received. Aqua put a bid in for $52 million and some change. And New Jersey American Water put a bid in for $143 million.
Yep.
It was also questioned why it was so different, why the prices were so different. We didn't really get an answer on that. July 8th, the council meeting on July 8th, the bids were read. We did the first reading. I believe it was first reading for that on on July 8th.
Yep.
And council chose to move forward with American Water since they were the higher bidder. And that was the first reading of the ordinance. If they passed it that night, it was going to go to the second reading, and the second reading would mean whether or not this would go on a ballot. So
Right.
if they approved it, it would go on the ballot. So August 8th, the meeting that we're covering right now, that was the second reading. So,
Right.
we urge people, look, come out, because this doesn't necessarily have to go on a ballot. Right? We're not great at voting here in Gloucester Township. We've got a 29% turnout rate for elections. It's not really a full representation of all the people.
Yeah, that point was brought up by somebody else too. Like, because even of that 29%, there's still a humongous portion of that is on one side of the aisle versus the other, and it makes it almost a shoe-in to happen. And the reason that we are questioning our council is because there's supposed to be a separation of powers here. When we're saying that the administration or Tom Cardis is the one who sent this to be voted on as an idea, council is supposed to represent the people. The administration has their own agenda, their own set of things, and council is supposed to be the balance that's representing the people. So not one person up there thought that a room full of people or all the signs that you see all throughout town represent. They don't need to represent them. They think that it should go on to the ballot. But that's where we were last night.
The biggest and the biggest thing that stood out the most was 7 individuals up there that represent 60,000 people. Of all the people that I've ever talked to, and when this all came up, I tried to find a positive for it because I don't mind privatization. So I tried to find all the positives that were going, and I couldn't find them because there were so many negative articles about that's happening. So I thought, all right, I want to hear what people think. So we've talked to so many people. I mean, you've been out in parking lots. Everybody, groups of people have been out in parking lots just talking to people. Nobody likes the idea. So the fact that 7 people up there, I haven't found anybody that likes the idea. 7 people up there like the idea. Nobody that lives here likes the idea. So it seems odd. So, people started questioning it.
But anyway, so that meeting was August 8th, right? And the deadline to get it on to hand over the wording to the county clerk of what the wording is going to be on the ballot, the deadline was the 9th, the following day. So right up against the wire, like per usual, how they like to do things. Got to do it today. We can't table it. We can't talk about it more.
So
it's got to be today.
Last night's meeting was basically, if you're a resident and you've got something to say about it, come out, let them know before they vote to put it on the election ballot. And
there's a lot more to go on this story here.
There is.
So
if it were to happen, if it were to go on the ballot, and the voters would choose to sell the MUA, American Water would give Gloucester Township $200,000 for all the legal fees that were involved in this whole process.
Right.
American Water agrees to pay $90,000 in the first 10 years on capital improvements to our current system, with $55,000 being spent in the first 7 years.
Right.
Rates for the first 2 years will remain flat, and rates will change from a quarterly billing system to a monthly billing system. We figure about $15 a month. That, for the first 2 years, would not change. It would be $15 a month for the first 2 years. And then, over the next 3 years, so it's a 5-year total process. First 2 years does not change. Over the next 3 years, total, it can equal 9%.
Right.
So, don't know if they're going to do 1 point something. Yeah, not compounded. So, don't know if they're going to do 1 point something, and then a little bit here and a little bit there. But over that 3-year period, by the end of the 3-year period, it can't be more than 9%.
Yeah.
So at the end of 5 years, it can't be more than 9%. So roughly after 5 years, we would be at probably about $16.75 a month, just with a 9% increase, which isn't I don't think is scaring anybody, but it comes later on.
What happens afterward?
When we start talking about what happens later. So also, there's a lot of talk that says, look, after this 5 years, you're still protected because the what are they called? The New Jersey Board of Public Utilities.
Yeah.
They
protect your rates.
Yeah, they'll protect you from astronomical increases. Partially true.
Right.
They can't. If American Water says we just want to raise rates for the hell of it, they could stop them on that. But they'd say we need our rates to be here, but then we also have some failures in the system, and then we need to make improvements too. So that comes in where the Resiliency and Environmental Systems Investment Charge Program comes in, that allows them to increase the rates higher than what was approved.
Right.
So you're not really protected.
It's like your Comcast bill you get in, and you're like, "How? I signed up for $99 a month. Why is my bill $150?" And they're like, "Oh, well, there's the fees, and then the constantly."
So
don't worry, your rates are protected though. It's $99.
Yeah. And so on the other end of it, a lot of the big concern was, look, we've got a lot of MUA employees that have done a really great job. Everybody has great stories about the MUA employees, what they've done for them. So what they came back with was they said 23 of those employees will get hired. And they'll get hired, and but there is stipulations to that too. So they'll hire 23. I don't know how many there are in total. Nobody really knew last night how many there are. I would only guess maybe there are 23 because
I think I did say something like 23 people.
Yeah,
or 21
so
people.
they will hire 23 of those people, but they only have to keep them for 6 months. So they could keep them for 6 months and say, we don't need you now. We know the system. Have a nice day. Or they can keep them for as long as they want. But 6 months is all they have to keep them for. And so it's gonna be equal or greater pay than what they're making right now. But their benefits will be consistent with American Water benefits.
Not with the township.
Not with the township benefits. So township benefits are pretty good, from what I understand. American Water benefits aren't really listed for union employees on their website, but it's going to be, I would imagine, not as great as public sector benefits. They just never are.
So seniors still will get their discount, which our council president didn't even know existed until
I don't know that
shortly
anybody
ago.
actually knew that existed.
And then I also have heard other people not realizing that existed either. So that was announced that if you are a senior, you can get your discount, and it would be grandfathered in if you're applied now. I guess if you turn 65 after this whole thing happens, then it doesn't. You won't be able to get it. But the other thing that they mentioned is cleanouts that used to be performed by GTMUA in the past will be performed by Public Works, and this was guaranteed. We have a clip of him saying this.
If there is a backup from the curb to the street, then you said Public Works would take care of it, but not our members that are employed with American Water. So that's what I'm asking. The Public Works members that would take care of it, would they be qualified, and do they know that they would have additional responsibilities?
There's a likelihood, Ms. Henry, that individuals that work for the sewer utility will move over to Public Works and do have that capability.
Okay.
American Water is not going to be doing cleanouts.
All right. So, yeah, that's what they're claiming, that the Public Works is going to be doing the cleanouts now.
There is a clip. Somebody did come back up later. I don't think we caught that clip. Somebody came back up later and said, where is it in writing?
Yeah.
And he said, I am telling you right now, on camera, in front of all these people, that we will do it. No problem. Look, I don't know what other people's thoughts were going into that meeting last night, but I was just going because I don't know, I just wanted to see it happen.
Yeah.
But I knew that it was going to be 100% that they were going to vote, put this thing on the ballot, and there was no talking them out of it.
Yep.
Even though it was like, I haven't met a person yet that agrees with it.
Yeah.
But
all right. So then we went into the public portion, or where public comments are taken. That was supposed to be unlimited time. Each person was limited to 5 minutes, and then it could come back up again. But so David Leader He's been a frequent flyer at the council meetings recently.
You know what? Another person that I don't remember from years past that come out, man, and he's been involved.
Yeah,
and
he's got great questions. He's he's asking the questions and he's being from a view of like, we're not just right. I'm questioning what these guys are saying, but everything that I'm hearing, I can't prove wrong. That's not, that's kind of like the stance that he had. That's what I got out of it. But anyway, he asked why Gabby Mascarello was not present, since she's the director of the MUA here.
I notice that the mayor is not here. If the mayor stands to benefit financially after the sale goes through as a government liaison to townships and other government agencies, that's a conflict of interest. I'd like to see him here to say that I will not get any benefit from the sale of the sewer division. I didn't see Gabriella Mascara here. She is currently the director of the sewer utility, someone who probably has as much knowledge about what we're talking about today as anyone in this room.
She has she's been given jobs in the past that they need a filler for. She was a New Jersey Assemblywoman. She had the worst record, and I believe the 5th worst record in the state was Paul Moriarty, who just went on to Senate. We've given Gabby a few jobs in this area, just because.
But anyway, so then this comment was said multiple times. This guy started it off, and here it goes.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Simple as that.
It is. It's just
that guy watches the podcast.
He does. He was a big fan. He knew more stuff about me than I know about me.
They sat in front of me. They're good guys. Him and his friend were good guys. I think his buddy comes up and speaks on later.
Yeah.
But
So Ira Eckstein, which one does
they've messed up Ira's name so much that I was telling Ira, I don't know what your name is anymore. Like I knew.
It just threw me off. I'm like, I can't remember which one.
I knew from the start he was Ira Eckstein, but then I started to doubt it because I've heard Eckstein so much from Council President Mercado that I was like, wait, is it Eckstein? No, I think it's Eckstein. And I told him, I go, Ira, I honestly don't know what your last name is now.
Yeah.
So they screwed it up again.
Yeah, so he asked about, okay, so you guys are saying that the mayor is not involved at all in this New Jersey American Water, bid here. Let's see what he has to say.
I don't know, it just seems like a conflict of interest where all of a sudden, I gotta believe that when this whole thing came up to dissolve the MUA, there were 2 things that were looked at. One, you wanted the $6 million excess, surplus, whatever you want to call it. 2, once you got that, now it's time to sell it.
He forgot the third part, though. So the third part is the election is coming up in 25 for the mayor. Mm-hmm. So if he's able to do what they claim are all the good things that this will happen is, lower your taxes. What do you think the mayor runs on? He's lowered everybody's taxes. So it's actually a 3-step plan that Ira
it's going to be tight
there.
Because they would get the money. They'll get the money at the end of June if it happens. And the budget is usually May, June.
I'm sure there's some accounting prescribed by the state of New Jersey, that's able to recognize the...
We did basically learn that if the money is guaranteed, you can put it in the budget.
Yeah.
So they could lower taxes in 2025 when the mayor's up for re-election, and they could say, "Man, we lowered taxes 18%." It's the famous step.
Yeah.
So it's
I love when people...
It's election year, non-election year, election year, non-election year. So it's been like that since, I think, 2009. I think that's when it started.
Yeah, I think Pete Heimball's the one that put that actual visual together for me one time that I had used to like debunk somebody's like, okay, well here it is. It's this ladder. Like, you can't say that it's not. Like, okay, maybe it did go up a tiny bit, so we didn't hold, but you didn't do the 10% increase like you do on every other non-election year. Yeah, but so let's see. Let's move on here. Dina asked who was responsible for this idea. and we kind of went over this a little bit earlier here, but here's the clip of it.
Last year in May of 23, when we had the meeting, knowing that it was going to be dissolved, it was specifically state that the dissolvement was polar opposite of the desire of privatization. What happened from May until the meeting that we had where you guys had the desire? Like, who came up with that idea? How did this idea like transform?
So the comment about back in May, who made that comment?
I wrote it. I mean, that was going to be my next question. Councilman Hutchinson stated that the dissolution is directly the opposite of privatization of the MUA.
Okay. So after in late November and December, Mr. Carter's approached me and indicated to me about the possibility of exploring the sale of the sewer utility and wanted to see what the value of it was. And that's how we began the process.
So Tom Cars works for the mayor, they're saying it's impossible that the mayor ever mentioned to Tom Cars to say, hey, maybe you could put this in their ear.
Right.
But the mayor had nothing to do with it. I don't know.
Yeah, like one day Tom was like, you know what I was thinking? We send this, why don't we talk to American Water? And the mayor goes, wow. Shout out to Dina, though, because I went there with the question. I'm sitting there in the crowd, and I'm thinking, I don't like asking questions here because I don't feel like it gets me anywhere. Never gets us never changes any minds. But I'm thinking, I want somebody to tell me who the person. We've asked this for a year and a half now. Who is the person? And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, I'm going to ask this question. And then Dina went up right at that moment.
Yeah,
I asked that question, and so I told her, and she's like, so you're not going to make fun of me on the next podcast? And I was like, you know what? I'm not going to make fun of you on the next podcast. So,
we could come up with something.
Actually, Dina asked 3 questions that were in my that I was thinking of. I'm like, oh, she's really good tonight.
Yeah, that's what Ira's point was when he was bringing up, like, it was a 2-step process. So you dissolved the MUA, and now we're selling it to New Jersey American Water. Well, the mayor it was okay for the mayor to be involved in the dissolution, which was step 1.
Yeah, he did all the prep work.
Are you kidding? I mean,
I'm sure he went on the guidance from his company on what to do for the whole process. And then at the very moment where they were like...
Well, you can't talk about it now. Now that it's an actual thing.
After tomorrow, it's a conflict. And he's like, all right, let's get the lawyer out here. And then Bill's in the office next door. He's taking it over.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But, so that was that clip here. We have another one from Ira asking about the fees that we were talking about, the BPU protecting.
The question was asked about the rate. It's going to stay the same for the first 2 years. There going to be anything added to that? Because when I get my water bill, there's another $10 to $15 tacked onto it for delivery and stuff like that.
Okay. Ms. Sartor, is there anything?
Not to my knowledge.
Is there a way to get clarification that there's not any delivery charges?
Yes, we can clarify. We can get a copy of the bill.
I mean, because I look at my water bill, and there's extra charges. Just like, if you got a Comcast bill, where the mayor used to work, there's 98 different charges extra on it.
Yeah. But yeah, so there was a couple things about that I wanted to point out. Was he asked specifically, and you know how they do this, they're very good with exact words, right? So he asked specifically, are there delivery charges? And like, not to my knowledge. So they're not called delivery charges. They didn't lie to you. They didn't answer. They asked the exact question that you answered. But what he meant was, are there other charges in general?
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't really know. We'll get you a sample bill.
The attorney that we're going to pay $200,000 to didn't know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Why would they know that? All right. So let's move on here. We got a lot of clips, guys. This was a really long meeting, and I honestly would recommend you go actually watch the entire thing. And there were so many clips that we were not able to pull from here. It's long. It's 3 hours long. So we were trying to keep this podcast as short as we could. So we pulled a bunch of clips to discuss. It's just some key ones and a
lot of duplicate points made.
Yeah, there was a lot of duplicate points made. Yeah, exactly. And there were some people that we didn't pull any clips from you, but it wasn't intentional. So don't think it was a lot. If we were to pull all the clips, we might as well just not do this.
But this one was...
There was so many new points and good points.
Really,
expanding on questions.
You brought a bunch of good points. Dennis Palmer brought a bunch of good points. And I almost at the end I was just hungry and I wanted to leave. But at the end, I wanted to just go up and say, look, with everything that you've probably just learned here, because I don't think that you did a whole lot of research, with everything you just learned here, how could you possibly go forward with making the decision to put this on there and think that it's for the best? Because you stated, come to the meeting. Jim, Nash, come to the meeting. We're going to talk about what's good about this. And we didn't find out what's good about it other than they're going to clean themselves of the debt they created,
right,
and then move it over here.
But that's
where that new bill comes in for us.
That's the point that I tried making, and it's not easy to get people to understand all of this stuff, and we don't exactly understand it 100% either. But that $143 million that we're getting, it's not just free money. Like, we have to pay that back. It's a loan. So the debt that we're in, the $67 million that we're in debt, we need to pay that back. And when Jim Nash goes up there and says, oh, we don't know what the rate's going to be, we can't speculate. Well, you also can't speculate that they're not going to go up. Like, if you're going to speculate one way, you can't speculate the other way.
There's no doubt it's going to go up.
Right.
It's 100%. It's in the contract.
It's in the math.
It's 9% after 5 years. And that's only because that's all they're allowed to do. Recently, now happening like Haddonfield, and there's another one that it's very recent because they just came off of that 5-year.
Yeah, and they got
part.
And his argument was because they had proposed to the BPU for their rate increases, which were approved, according to someone else. But they find out which ones have been proposed, and then what they actually got for it. Let's do that.
But there's no flip side to this too.
Oh, maybe that's another state or something.
You bring up 167% increases, Pennsylvania. So we're talking about a lot of increases in Pennsylvania. It wasn't like there's Delaware American Water. Well, they saved money down there. Their rates went down. There's been no. When we started this whole process, I'd look for the positives and I looked for it's going to save us money, because if it saves us money, okay, if we can privatize it and save us money. I'm not comfortable with just handing it all over to a private company. I'd like that we own it. It's the very few government things that I like that I think the government does well. And especially after talking to Dennis Palmer, how specialized they are in that
authority
field.
Is not exactly like a municipality that has all the distractions, we'll call them, of like
it's a specialty
public
field.
Works and police department and all that. So they have a lot of distractions. Well, now they took this authority and put it in house. Now they have all the distractions and they have this to worry about. So
yeah, so.
But yeah, it all boiled down to the simple math, and Jim was not here. No, none of them. Not one of them wanted to listen to math.
I'm sure you guys will have a campaign. I'm sure there'll be things arriving at people's mailbox. I'm sure you'll talk to the seniors, and you'll let them know the sky is wrong unless they do this. But let's just deal with basic numbers, real simple numbers. The simple numbers is that New Jersey American Water is going to give this township $143 million for our sewage system. Then you have a capital improvements of $90 million. If that adds up correctly, that's $233 million that New Jersey American Water will put out. If you take a look at, let's say for some reason the stockholders and New Jersey American Water are feeling very generous and they don't want to make a profit on their investment. Let's just say. At that cost, if you break that down by 25,000 ratepayers in Gloucester Township, the $46 per month sewage bill, and this is just flat amount, and if I'm wrong, tell me, $78 per month. $78 per month from a $46 per quarter. That's simple math.
And
that's
how many years? How many years?
How many?
Yes.
Well, it'll go up from there,
No,
obviously.
your math.
10 years.
Okay.
10 years. And again, we're saying, assuming that the stockholders at New Jersey American Water are feeling generous. They don't want to make a profit. Now, I did fail to mention that did not include operating costs. Let's say the number is pretty close to an additional $20 a month per ratepayer for them to send people out and do their job. That takes that $46 per quarter bill and makes it $98 a month. Just under $100 a month for your sewer. For someone like myself who pays Aqua to bring the clean water in, I'll be paying New Jersey American Water $100 a month. Then I got to pay Camden County. It's an expensive flush of the toilet there. It just
is. Yep.
Yeah, the math is scary. If they want to recoup that cost in 10 years, that's an astronomical amount of money. You know, up as far as somebody said $118 a month, which I thought was pretty insane until I saw that there are people in Pennsylvania that are doing that.
Yeah.
So it's scary. I don't even want to say I doubt that it would go up that high, but it's just a possibility. You
never
don't know, but you can't go back either. That's the scary part.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you guys watch our other podcast where we had Dennis Palmer on there, I forget the exact title of it, but you could tell which one I'm talking about when we go on there. Like, what will happen, what could happen if they, you sell your sewer. Yeah. It explains, like, how you're part of, like, a whole collective of, you now own other towns' systems. So they go buy a new system, now you're on the hook to pay for that system. Maybe they're in good of repair as ours is, and it's a whole big, I don't want to say pyramid scheme, but it's a whole, you're in a system that you have no control over. But let's move on with Dennis Palmer. We were just mentioning that, that last podcast. Dennis brought up a great point about the post-bid change. And what does the, I guess the DCA is the Department of Community Affairs?
Mm-hmm. First thing is the post-bid amendment or change or clarification. I'm curious what DCA would say to that. I mean, I brought it in the first place on clarifying because Aqua looked like, not what it looked like, apparently they did the math and followed what they thought. So I just have a question. My mind is, I question what DCA would say about a post-bid change.
So yeah, that bid change that he's talking about is he had pointed out that the request for bid that the township put out, it had a cap of 9% over the course of 5 years, with the first 2 years being frozen. So what the percentages each year after that were answered back. Yeah. Aqua answered it back as compounded interest is. Basically, it said 9% at the end of the year. So they said, all right, it's going to be this percent, and then 3.87 or whatever the percentage was to not allow the compounded interest. Because once you go up, so say you got a raise at work, you now make X amount instead of Y amount. Well, when you go to get a raise next year, it's off the percentage increase is off of X amount. It's not off of Y amount. It would be not your old rate. So the percentages made that total amount bid from the $143 million bid of New Jersey American Water what's called a non-responsive bid because you didn't follow the guidelines of what that was. So his point in this is, well, what does the Department of Community Affairs say as far as awarding the contract to someone who didn't bid it correctly, and also after the fact of the deadline. The deadline was when you had to get that right. Now you're doing it later on, but. The other point that he brought up was billing per gallon.
So I have a house, I get billed for a house. Will contract continue that practice? Or will it start implementing billing off the water meter? Because let's face it, how hot it's been, many people have been watering the lawns. If you start billing off the water meter, like they do in many other towns, if you look at the rate structure, it's not equitable that if you use water for your lawn, your garden, and fill in your pool, because most people lower the pool in the winter and add to it in the springtime, none of that water goes to your sewer system. So when it comes to fairness and equity, the billing should continue as it continues. Right now, the rate structure set up is it's built on a unit.
So it's going to be a big deal. I mean, if you got a pool, if you've got a garden,
if you wash your car, anything like that.
Anything, all this water that doesn't wind up in the sewer, you're going to pay for it as it did wind up in the sewer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of. It's a huge deal. This summer, it's an incredible amount of money to water the lawn and the garden.
Yeah.
He
had some points in there like, there's irrigation companies that'll be going out of business because of this here. Another point that he brought up that I didn't pull a clip of here too was, hey, does now the township also get a break on that or whatever? And they're like, yeah, well, we're going to have to be paying for that, as well. He also brought up, churches and things like that had, tax. They don't pay taxes, but now they're going to be charged additional money through this because they're a ratepayer that they don't get the benefit of the not having free utilities and all that. But
yeah, and seniors won't get as much of a break as they do on the seniors get a big tax break. They'll get a small tax break on this. Veterans, disabled veterans that don't, I know quite a few of them that don't pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
They have to pay. They have to pay for the water. So,
right. Yeah. But another point that he brought up is New Jersey American Water is saying that they're going to put $90 million of infrastructure improvements in our plan that we had only had like 20-ish or something. So what's the disparity? You know,
And that's a huge number. You're gonna take that plus the 90 million, which is another surprising infrastructure number, since we only looked at about 50 million, or 25 million in the Aqua. And the Township Authority's own capital plan was only 21 million. Where is all this pipeline, where is all this money gonna go?
that's a great question. You know, the Remington and Vernick report that we had paid for didn't specify that we needed $90 million of improvements. If it did, they might not have been able to dissolve the MUA. It said the opposite. So that's convenient that project said, you know, that they needed to have done.
Yeah.
It's in good shape. Then, you know, later on, oh, yeah, we forgot that existed. Oh, we're so broke, we need money because, you know, we can't afford our system. Let's sell it. We haven't. Oh, I loved the one comment, too, that Orlando had said to, I forget who it was, but he's like, well, they also have to maintain it. Well, yeah, so would we. What's the...
And we talked, too, about some of the guys from the MUA that do regular maintenance, daily checks, weekly checks, and, you know, their experience with dealing with knowing other people that have dealt with this kind of similar situation, and they said that's not part of like the plan for American Water. It's to make money,
right?
To where these guys aren't they're not there to make money. They're there to make sure that we have a system all the time. Where American Water has mostly been on the when it's broke, we'll fix it.
There's another guy named Barry Salvatore that went up, and he had a question, which was just another example of the BPU will protect you.
Because everything I'm seeing from everything that I'm reading, we're seeing 30, 40, 50% increases that people are seeing in their bills. Is there anything to protect the residents from some ridiculous increase the first year that this is all done?
There is. There's the BPU, the Board of Public Utilities, where the utility needs to propose what any proposed rate increase needs to be applied for by New Jersey American or any utility company. They go before the board with periodic rate cases. I believe it's every
What board?
years.
The Board of Public Utilities.
For Gloucester Township or the state?
The state.
Okay.
So yeah, there it is again. The BPU is there to protect you, but what they're failing to say is what's the rate if they just get what they asked for. We did on the one community meeting that we held. Peggy had brought examples of that, of what they asked for and what they were approved for. So like they might have asked for a 70% increase, they only got 55 or something. I forget the exact numbers, but they were still astronomical increases. So yeah, okay, yeah, they might be there to protect you, but they're only protecting the rate. They're not able to protect all of the other stuff, like the $90 million in infrastructure that they're putting in. Yep. That's a separate charge that is not protected by there. But when you ask the question, are there any protections? That's the answer. The BPU will protect you. But anyway, so Denise Coyne then gets up there and drops some facts around the BPU. Let's play this. Where are we at here?
14.
The gentleman that was just up here was asking about any protections after the 5 years, because after the 5 years, it's game on. You guys no longer have any control, and we have absolutely no control of our sewer because we no longer own it. So here's a notice of filing from New Jersey American Water to the Board of Public Utilities for their rate increase in 2024. And it refers to townships that their 5-year protections or 10-year protections or whatever their protections were now up. So for example, on page 4 of this document, Haddonfield's increase was going up 50.34%. Mount Ephraim's increase was 45.08%. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Nash.
And are they proposed or are they finalized?
They were approved.
They're approved.
I'm pretty sure I saw in the Courier Post they were approved.
Okay, so that was what I was referring to earlier, that they were saying it was approved, so she said it was a Courier Post.
All right, first things first. Me and Jim, we've had some conversations about the rate increases. He says there's no evidence as to the rate increases and how much they'll be in New Jersey because everything's just proposed. I brought up the graph to him of Pennsylvania and how the rate increases there were in Shelton Borough. They had a 149% increase. In, let's see, Exeter Township, they had a 167% increase. They went from $43 to $114. And there's a bunch of other ones. I can email you this.
Yes, and can you give me the time period, the time frame of this?
Well, this is from the Inquirer. I can actually send you the article that it came from.
Yes,
And
please.
I could give it to you right now. Walk up there and give it to you. The point is, so there's 167 increase. There's Kane Borough Municipal Authority in Pennsylvania that went from $50 a month to $113 a month, which is a 123% increase. And a bunch of other towns on here that you'll get to see. He says that they don't matter because it's in Pennsylvania and not New Jersey. But we all know that American Water is a corporation that goes across 24 states in this country. They're headquartered in Camden, New Jersey. They work here where they're doing new acquisitions. They work in PA, they work in Hawaii, they work in California. So it would make sense to go off of other states because it is a corporation like a Walmart to decide how it will affect your township. My proposition to him, and he said, bring it up to you, is maybe wait. Our MUA isn't going anywhere. Our debt isn't going anywhere. Wait 5 to 10 years. See how it works out in Haddonfield. See how it works out in these other townships. See if it benefits them, and then decide what's best for the residents.
A question was asked at the last meeting, an ego question. That's when people send an email in because they can't attend the meeting. And that question was asked, if this fails, is there another opportunity? Can you go out again? There is an option to go out again if this fails. That was me addressing that question.
So he's answering just as a matter of fact. There is another way, but he's not giving you the, we're not going to do that. We are going to do that later on. Somebody does ask him that one. We'll get to that clip in a.
It was clarified later on too, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, I don't know if I actually pulled that here. I'm sorry, but yeah. Either way, there was.
So essentially, what they could do is, if they think, all right, the voters aren't on board with this, they could claim, or they could let it go into disrepair. We've harped on like that they don't. This is not the group. This is not the group that we want representing us. But honestly, the only way. So if we make it through November, and the day after election day, we go, it's over. It's not.
Oh no,
it's not over because it's not over because it's going to keep happening. They're going to keep digging and digging and digging. They've spent themselves into a hole. They've got to figure it out now because if they just keep raising taxes and getting more and more debt, it's not going to be manageable at all. And then people are going to come out of the woodwork.
Well, that's why
get rid of them.
This idea even came up. The idea came up from the man who has to put the budget together. The mayor's not sitting behind with Excel and putting up whatever, coming up with this. He has a business administrator that does that. His job to do that. The business administrator is the one that's like, holy crap, how are we getting? This is where we are. I know we could sell off the sewer system. So if he is legitimately the one that came up with this idea, that's a very realistic thing. He's like, I don't know what to do anymore. I can't. Where are we at? What are we doing with this? We need to sell the sewer. If you take that away from him, because right now he's on vacation. He's out on a boat on the water. He's on vacation because he got his feet up. I'm like, yep, we're sailing right through this. I don't have to figure out a problem that we have.
I mean, this guy. This guy's probably. He's probably on the horizon here of retirement. He makes a crazy amount of money for the little bit that he does, and he's pretty secure with the 5 different positions that he holds.
He has 11 positions on his financial disclosure form. Pine Hills, their tax. We've seen online recently.
Pine Hill Chat.
They are. Oh my God, people are freaking out about how much money their taxes just went up. Same guy.
They drop a comment in there. Go. Hey, by the way, same guy in Gloucester Township is killing us.
Yeah.
And they're like, really? Oh,
wait. You can have 2 jobs?
You got to look into this guy. Yeah. So that's true over there in Pine Hill. But also,
so a resident. Well, go ahead.
So think about it. This doesn't go through. He's kind of in trouble because he's borrowed himself into a hole, and maybe it's not on him. Maybe it's them telling him this is what you're going to do, and he does it for them. So everybody's in trouble. So if it doesn't go through, what if? Let's say it doesn't go through, and the mayor thinks, "Look, I can't be the smiley picture guy anymore because they're gonna start hating me." So maybe the mayor doesn't run again in 2025. So many angry people there last night that just said, "We have to get them out of here." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's been the message for a long time now. But we've got to get them out of here because it just keeps getting worse." And it's to the point now where it's at a tipping point now. We're like, "This is it, folks."
Yeah. Well, and so Jen O'Donnell asked an excellent question of them is, so say we clear this debt for you. Say you get the money.
Goes through and you take that money and you pay down the debt, what are you going to do different to not put us $67 million in debt again? It's a real question.
Okay. So we'll eliminate all the debt of $60 million. In our budget now, we have a current $9 million in annual debt service. So essentially interest on a credit card.
What do you, I get what's
Yes,
there.
no,
I know what's there. What are you going to do different is my
Ms.
question.
O'Donnell, if you could please let me
I just want to know what you're going to do different.
If
I
you're
don't
gonna
want you
ask
to
me-
tell me what's there.
If you're going to ask me a question, you're going to give me an opportunity to respond.
I would like you to answer the question I asked, though.
Ms. O'Donnell,
Yes, sir.
are you going to allow me to respond?
I will allow you to answer the question I asked. Yes, please.
I'm going to start again.
Can you stop the clock? If you're
No,
going to
I'm
talk
not.
about other things,
Miss-
okay, then
Miss
you
O'Donnell.
can answer it when I'm done, because I have a couple more things that I'd
Please
like to
continue
say.
and take your 5
Thank
minutes.
you, I appreciate
You're not
it.
allowing me to respond, so please continue.
Absolutely.
You're not allowing me to respond by not responding, by not answering the question that you asked.
They can't do anything different.
Yeah,
They're-
exactly. So
they
there's
can't
the answer's
admit-
no answer.
They can't admit that they will do anything different because that would admit that they've done something wrong.
Anyway, there was a clip asking about the org chart and like, who do you guys work for here?
Earlier, you were asked about the organizational chart of the township, and you said the residents were at the top. I remember looking at the organizational chart, and the residents weren't on it at all.
No, that's my opinion that the residents are on top.
Okay, but
I don't have-
that's an opinion. They're not
Okay.
on the chart.
All right. Well, in my opinion, the residents are on top.
Okay, but they're not on the chart.
Okay.
Correct?
I don't have, Mr. Leader's holding something up. I don't have an organizational chart in front of me.
Okay,
Please
they're
continue.
not on the
Okay.
chart at all. They don't appear anywhere.
All right.
All right. So we've all seen the org chart.
It
We're
does
not
not
on it.
include us, yeah.
Yeah, that was the point was kind of made. In his mind, we're on it.
Yeah.
But in his mind, we're up top, but his foot's on us.
So at this point in the meeting, after that happened, there was a recess called. And we're gonna go to a break here.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
I thought there was going to be a presentation. Obviously not. So there's no presentation. Mr. Nash is not going to give us a presentation of his findings. Mr. Ricardo just told me that. So you won't get any facts tonight. You're looking for facts. They're not going to be coming out
Yeah. It is going on the November ballot.
A moment ago, you said that this was going to go on the ballot. Did you already decide? Behind closed doors, or?
No, Mr. Allen, we did not decide behind
How do
closed
you know
doors.
what their opinions are?
Okay, Mr. Allen, okay.
It's a fair point, right?
Yes, we went back there and said, okay, we're going to do this and throw it on the ballot. Okay. So it gives an opportunity for residents to vote for on the ballot on November 5th.
Since they went on a break, let's go on a break ourselves here. make sure you guys subscribe to our channel here.
Met a lot of people last night that and said, "Have you guys checked the podcast?" And they go, "There's a podcast?" And they said, I said, "Yeah, we went through the guy Dennis had talked. We talked to him. We did an interview." And they go, "That sounds awesome. Yeah, give me." So, look, there's not a lot of people that know about it. So
help us spread the word.
Share it.
Share it.
That way people can
subscribe, turn the notifications on. We randomly do these things. We're just two guys that have some time now and then, and we try to be a little regular with it, but we're not always. But yeah, put the notifications on. We have a website. You go to gtobserver.com. There is a ton of information that we have up there for you guys about the sewer system, about just the township in general. Some articles. There's links to important things like voting and donating to causes like this. There's where you vote, where to register to vote, all kinds of information on there. But anyway, just make sure you guys subscribe.
Generally, if somebody can't find something on the Gloucester Township website, I'll go onto our site and I'll put a link to it on there, and it's it's easier to find here.
Yeah.
At the very least, if you don't like any of the political content on there, you can watch Keith walk around parks.
Yeah. At that point in the meeting, they did what I believe is an illegal.
Out of nowhere. Now, Mercado had gotten up before and went to use the bathroom or get something to drink or whatever. Got up, came back, and then about 30 minutes later, just out of nowhere, stopped and said, "We got to go to recess." They got up. Everybody clears out.
Well, not everybody, because in a public meeting, you're not supposed to go behind closed doors.
Right.
So people sat behind. You're not supposed to go behind closed doors with a quorum. A quorum is the minimum amount of people that it would be required to pass a vote or to make something pass. So there's 7 members of council. 4 would be a majority, right? So there would have to be at least 4 of them out in public, not hidden away somewhere. In this particular case, there was only 5 members of council present. But either way, Mercado came back out and he was pointing, you, let's back here, let's go. Room full of people. I don't know if they just thought we wouldn't realize what was going on.
Clerk that was sitting in the audience was even pointing to come back. And then the only person that remained was Mike Mignon, who was on his phone.
Yeah, he was texting, but he got up and went in as well.
Got a text message. They were like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And then he was like, "Okay, I gotta go."
Yeah.
Or he just want to make it obvious. I don't know. But everybody went into the conference room. They all come back, and the discussion is, it's going to be on the ballot. And it was like, wait, that's what this meeting is for. This meeting is for whether or not you're going to vote.
Yeah.
You came back and you're talking about it's going to be on the ballot.
As if it's a vote already happened.
You haven't voted yet. And you don't know, you're not supposed to know what the rest of those people feel about it.
Yeah.
What their vote's going to be. I went there with questions to ask because we've been so involved in doing all this. I had some questions. Dina actually asked them all. I didn't have to do it. I was like, all right, good. I don't have to go up there and do it. And then that one thing just got me. When he said it, I'm like, I gotta bring this up.
Yeah.
So I brought it up. I'm not up there every week. In fact, I think I've only gone up there one other time before to ask something just for clarification. I don't go up there every week and give him a hard time.
Yeah. After that all came back to order, Terry Fretz went up there and kind of asked him, like, what are the benefits of this? And the answer, in my opinion, was all the same exact answer said in different ways.
Whether it's Pennsylvania, it's the same American General Water. I expect that the same thing will happen. So tonight, since I took the time to come here, I could have just watched it at home like I do your council meetings. I would like to hear what this council thinks the pros are and the benefits to the residents. I know that the wording says you decided this would be a benefit for residents, so let's hear them.
This is providing an opportunity for residents to determine whether they're going to sell, they want to sell the wastewater system. Eliminating our debt, $67 million. Eliminating a $9 million debt service. Okay, providing tax release, a reduction in our municipal.
So he said the same thing in different ways. The tax, the what do you call it? The debt service is because we have debt. So paying off the debt and reducing debt service is the same thing. The guaranteed portion of the cleanouts, This was what I was thinking a past clip was here.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
I agree with the last guy. You guys have to start fighting for us. I'm highly disappointed our mayor's not here and other people. It's like going to a parent-teachers conference and the teacher's not there. It's ludicrous. And as for the mayor being involved in this, that really upsets me because
Yes, I had the wrong clip there, but that guy had a great point of the mayor not being there. But even if the mayor was there, then he's a conflict of interest, and I got to go to a parent. It was an interesting point the guy had brought up. I guess I must have clipped something wrong here, but
That's probably me and my really fast setup here.
maybe. But yeah, either way, what else happened here? Let's get a couple more clips.
What do you tell the seniors or people on a fixed income how this is good for them to pay an extra $656 a year? What do you say to them? Why is this a good thing for them? Why is it a good thing for any of us? To what everybody has said. How are we better off? And if this is just $70 and we've heard $100, $120, how is that better off? That's all I have to say.
So the reason why we're asking, the reason why I'm personally asking is because we've done extensive research and there has not been an apples to apples comparison of towns in New Jersey that have had an acquisition from New Jersey American Water and has had an increase. It's been proposed, it's been ideas, there's been speculation. There's no hard concrete facts yet. And that's all we were clarifying. When somebody says there's an increase of X amount of dollars, the reason why we're asking is because we don't see it. There is
that because the 5 years isn't up for the other
Possibly.
Well, then why are we hurrying? Why are we hurrying? If somebody did this already, why are we waiting? No, that's an important question.
He said it's a separate question. Okay, well there you go. Why? Okay.
Man, what a disappointment that guy's become.
Dude, right? I don't know. You really liked him in the beginning.
I did. I was like, this is all right. Look, this is. It's not so bad to lose to that guy. I feel like that guy. He might have a mind of his own.
Well, he was told to tell you he has a mind of his own. I think.
Yeah,
maybe. But yeah. So Jim's really this apples to apples thing. He can't speculate on anything, but he had another. He's really stuck on this one here. What is this? 20. I'm gonna get to that one.
Comparing things that shouldn't be compared. We don't know the facts yet because there are no facts in the state of New Jersey with New Jersey American Water. That's all I'm saying.
What makes so?
Yeah. So he really wants to compare these apples to apples facts that don't exist. That's just simply an excuse. Anyway, so it is a disappointment. I was disappointed in him after the last year's election when I had the camera out doing interviews with people, and he walked up to me with a camera and spoke to me for like 20 minutes, and then was like, "You're not recording this, are you?" And I'm like, "You're standing in front of a man with a camera and a microphone." Yeah. And then he had asked you to let. that was just. I don't know. I kind of lost it there. Dina got up there because the council president was his typical self. He was a little bit more behaved than
when I went up there.
Right, than when he has in the past. But she just wanted, hey, look, why are you not talking to us with respect? You're bullying us. You know, he at one point he had basically threatened the rate increases to be used if this doesn't sell. That if we keep the MUA, that's not protected by the BPU. Like a wink, wink. You better do this because we'll come after you. I don't know if you guys caught that part.
Clean outs will be gone.
Yeah.
You got to clean house. You got to get rid of Troxel this year, and you got to get rid of 3 of them next year.
Yeah.
You have to. The mayor and 3 council are up in 25. So Troxel is on a special election this year. So if
she would be that other seat also, wasn't she?
If she took over Hutchinson's seat.
Yeah, so that would be with the mayor.
So the remaining year of Hutchinson's term that she is holding right now, there's an election at the end of this year in November, to fill that seat for 1 year.
Right, for 1 year.
And then that seat is up again next year, along with Winters, Carolyn Grace. and the mayor. Look, it's one person's not going to make a difference when it comes to voting. You'll have, if last night were different and Tim were there, right? Tim would vote no. It would still go through.
Right.
But you wouldn't have to worry about when they go to secret meetings. Tim follows. You know what I mean? So you can break up some stuff like that, and you've got an insider in there for a little while until 25 comes, and then you can give the guy some help.
Yeah, but anyway, so Dana called Orlando out, and then Orlando also resorted to personal attacks against Ray Polidoro, saying, "Hey, you were here in this room for a sewer, sale or whatever, he was saying." He didn't call him specifically, but he was alluding to him, as I believe. I don't know who else it could have been.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't get that
Or
one.
maybe it was like Shelley Lovett was there, and she used to be a council member, maybe.
I guess a long time ago. Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure. But either way, there was a personal attacks kind of being thrown out there. Anyway, Orlando kind of threatened that BPU does not cover the sewer utility now as another bullying tactic. So just a couple of those. And then at the very end, he just showed his extreme dominance by ending the meeting. Just saying, we're done.
Remember the clip at the beginning?
Yeah, remember the clip? Yeah, where we said played the rules of what it was? No. Here we go. Clip.
Thank you. With that, we'll close the hearing.
There's a limited time.
I had in Ms. Hendry. Ms. Hendry, you don't run the meeting, Ms. Hendry. I had asked if anyone would like to speak any additional, and I identified 2 individuals. We're closing the hearing. Ordinance, the second reading of public hearing. I'll reread the ordinance again. Ordinance -0-24-17.
I demand to be heard.
Mr. Leader.
I'm 78 years old.
Yes, I appreciate it, Mr.
I got a
Leader.
life experience. I got my hand up. I
Okay.
demand to be heard.
Mr. Leader. There's no shouting out, please. I had asked for the last 2 speakers, and they were identified. Mr. Leader, thank you. So, ordinance, second reading, public hearing. Ordinance 0-24-17. Ordinance of the Township of Gloucester and the County of Camden, New Jersey, approving agreement of sale between the Township and New Jersey American Water Company for the sale of the Township's wastewater collection and conveyance system, and authorizing the proposal to be printed on the ballot for consideration by the voters within the Township at the general election on November 5th, 2024, providing for the sale of the Township's wastewater system to New Jersey American Water Company. I entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? On the question. Roll call, please.
Mr. Mignon?
Yes.
Mr. Nash?
So, first off, just to respond to some people here. We did extensive research on the facts that are available today. After doing that research, and taking in all your comments into consideration, paying off the town's debt, hiring the 23 employees with equal pay and benefits, having a rate protection in place for 5 years, discounts for seniors, property tax stabilization, possible reductions. Taking all that into consideration, I appreciate what you guys are here to say. I appreciate all your thoughts, but I still believe that this is up to the voting population of Gloucester Township to decide. It's not up to this population here. It's not up to this population here. I am also an MUA customer. I pay the same rate to you guys. I have a kid going to college and I have a kid in high school. I have bills too. I don't want to see this rate go up just as much as you don't. But what I do decide, as an elected official, it is our duty to hear the voice of every single voting person in the township. And we would not be doing ourselves a service if we just took a small population of what we hear. So everything you said is recorded. It's live. It's great information. So thank you. But I still believe it should be on the ballot for the entire population to vote. So I vote yes.
Mrs. Walters? Mrs. Winters? Mr. Mercado?
Yes. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Well, when Helpful Hutch leaves, Neighborly Nash rolls in. Come in there, tell you about his feelings, But yeah, some other guy made a comment here, and apologies because I don't remember what his name was, but just a thing that Jim just said that I was like, I gotta think about that here. And
I don't know why this room isn't filled. It should have been. I mean, I had time to get home, get changed, and come here.
Yeah. So when you think there's a group of about 60 people there, I guess. 60 people don't represent the 50,000 voters that we have in the township. But 1,200 show up, and they can't fit enough people in there.
They're still going to pass it.
That's not a good representation of the township. I mean, look, I would argue that the township is generally asleep most of the time, and they don't follow any of this stuff. But there's a lot of signs out there. There's hundreds of signs out there where people have this on their lawn. Show up. Look, at least fill the room. Project that the township is against us, other than just like 60 angry people.
The comment about that it's just this small group of people. Is there a larger group that is for it that he's talking to?
There's nobody that I've met.
I've talked to two people that were all for it. That said, "Oh yeah, dude, 143," and then you explain what we know and just the basic. When we're dealing with facts, we're just dealing with the facts here. And you educate them, they're like, oh my God, no, I'm not for that at all. So it's when you educate people about it, they are 100% against it. So I want to know where all the people that he's talking to, when he's talking about this is the small group of people, I don't know who the other group is. I would love to see them. I didn't see one of them come out in support of this and saying, you better vote yes. I mean, there's things that you get there, in a meeting where you do get both sides coming out for it, whether it's for a warehouse or something like that. You have both sides. I don't know anyone that's educated enough that. Let me rephrase that. I don't know anyone that I've spoken to that is for this once they are educated on the topic. Who's going to hold them accountable? It's us. We're the people that need to actually make action and vote. Somebody made a comment on a post on Facebook today. It said, you get what you vote for. All right. I don't have anything else. Joe, you have anything?
No, I don't think I have anything else other than the voting thing. I wish I had the graphic in front of me. 71% stayed home.
Yep.
When you look at that on a pie chart, it's so huge how many people stayed home and how powerful that amount of people that stayed home is. You've got the people that like them and the people that don't like them, and then the big group of people that just never did anything. They have so much power.
But they feel they're nothing. That's like I remember after I had won that the election. I said, there was a meme that's like, there's only so much one person can do. Said 7 million people.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I think I'm spent. Thank you guys.
That's it. We got another council meeting in a couple days.
Yeah. So we gotta get out of here.
We'll be there. We're gonna recap that one next week.
Make sure you guys subscribe. And we will see you later on.
Hit the notification bell, too, because we don't do anything on a schedule.